So I'm Kevin Eggan. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer at BioMarin. I lead the research and early development function here, but I've also recently taken on the role of leading R&D at the level of our PKU and enzyme replacement therapy business unit. BioMarin has a rich history of developing new therapies for individuals with unmet need, including patients with PKU. We've been leaders in the PKU field and developed the first two medications for this indication, both Kuvan and Palynziq. PKU is a genetic disease. It's an inherited disease. So that's the first thing to know. And one develops PKU when one inherits two broken copies of the gene PAH, generally speaking. Now, there can be other causes genetically of PKU and elevated phenylalanine levels that are still being discovered, but the vast majority of individuals with PKU have the same cause. The result of this is greatly elevated circulating levels of one of the amino acids that are the building blocks for all of our proteins. And these elevated levels lead to a variety of changes in the brain and the developing body that affect cognitive function and behavior. There are a variety of tools that individuals with PKU, families, and healthcare providers use to help reduce phenylalanine levels in these patients. An important tool that's used in the youngest kids and in many individuals across the world is diet. To take a diet that's low in phenylalanine levels to reduce the overall burden. Unfortunately, these diets aren't very nice and lead to a variety of other challenges by generally forcing individuals to take relatively low protein input diet. The other therapies that have been developed are first and foremost modulators of a cofactor of this enzyme PAH, which help to improve the activity of the enzyme in those patients that still have a little bit of residual activity. So although everybody walking around with PAH mutations generally has two broken copies, there can still be a little bit of that enzyme activity hanging around. And drugs like Kuvan and the newly emergent Cefiants, they help that remaining residual protein work better. Now, the other therapy that's been developed by BioMarin is called Palynziq, and that therapy is what's called an enzyme substitution therapy. So in those individuals, they take a subcutaneous injection of a protein which is a different protein from PAH, but it replaces the activity of PAH by degrading phenylalanine in the circulation. And thus far, that's the therapy which has been able to demonstrate an ability to bring Phe to normal physiological levels and to enable one to take a high protein diet for the first time. The data that we presented at the Inborn Errors of Metabolism meeting was the phase 3 data from the PEGASUS study, which is the pivotal study of Palynziq in adolescents aged 12 to 17. And the results, I think, are very promising for individuals and for adolescents in particular who are living with PKU. And the results showed that about half, or 49.7% mean reduction in blood phenylalanine levels in those individuals in the study compared to basically no change in diet alone. So this means that taking Palynziq could reduce those levels of phenylalanine circulating in the blood by about half. Importantly, nearly, again, so I think remembering this rule of halves is important for the data. Nearly half of participants achieved a reduction in blood phenylalanine of concentrations of 50% or more. So, that is to say that effect in the data wasn't driven by a very small number of people. A very large number of individuals in the study had a very favorable effect. I think also, if I was to kind of give a bottom line from our experience in adolescents, the overall results are really rather similar to those that we have observed thus far in our studies of Palynziq in adults. And because we have a lot of experience with Palynziq in adults, I think this really buoys up our enthusiasm and confidence in this treatment effect in younger individuals who are seeking therapies that can bring Phe into the normalized range and help with diet liberalization. why are these results so particularly important for adolescents living with PKU, right? And there, I would say that for teens with PKU, there, a lot of their life has to revolve around a dietary set of restrictions that really shape their peer interactions. And we feel like they're likely under a lot of pressure in their daily life to consume high levels of protein. And this could be an approach for helping normalize their life in that way. As you think about the demands of the adolescent body with growth, sports activities, and other aspects of growing up, we think in this particular population, this profile of medicine could be very beneficial.